Hi everybody. Oh, I've forgotten what day we're on. I'll have to check it up later, but yeah, time is flying. So today, been a really weird one today. Started last night with had a weird dream, and when I woke up this morning, the last thought of the dream was all the colours. So it's all the chakra colours. I woke up with all the colours just like whirling around in my head. So first thing this morning I decided to do like a chakra meditation. So I did that first thing and then moved on through the day, didn't think much more of it. And then the second cat that I went to today to sort out with its coat, when I arrived, as the chap opened the door, John his name was, as he opened the door, behind him was like a quilt, and it was one of those, you know, with all the chakra colours and all the little signs and things all over it. And I went, oh, all the colours of the chakras? And he said, yes. He said, that's going in my room. He said, I've been redoing my room. He said, because I am a tarot reader and a Reiki healer and so on and so on and so on. So I was like, oh, right, okay, because that's really interesting. I love all that. And then the cat appeared for me to groom, and as the cat got put on the table, I felt a real sense of healing was needed. So I lay my hands onto the cat, and I was picking up all these energies, and I just said to him, is the cat a rescue? I feel like she's been through some really hard times. He wasn't saying much to start with, and in the end it turns out the cat is one that has come from the Wirral Animal Sanctuary, and I happen to work for the Wirral Animal Sanctuary too. I help them out with when they have some really severely, you know, matted cases, and I go and clip the cats for them, just in order to help them get new homes far quicker than if, you know, they had to wait for sedation and stuff. And of course the vets still don't like to do it because they don't know the health of the cat. So we got chatting, and I was like, oh, well, that's like something else in common is the cat. And he knew Steph, who runs the charity, and we're chatting all about Steph and the wonderful work she does. And then things just developed and more, and he was just saying, oh, you've got a wonderful aura about you. And I was like, oh, right, okay. And the more we chatted, the more he started opening up, and he said, do you mind, when we finished the cat, he said, do you mind, he said, I've been in a tricky situation with my kiddie. The kiddie's got autism and only recently found out, and he'd stopped doing all his all his psychic stuff, I suppose, and he'd stopped doing all that, and he suddenly started, now he's got so much further down the line with his son and sorting his son out in special schools and getting all the support he needs. He feels he can refocus himself now, and that's what he's doing. So he said, would you mind, he said, seeing as you're, you know, really quite excited by all this, he said, and I can tell you are awakening. I was like, ooh. He said, would you come to me one afternoon when you're free and sit with me for an afternoon, he said, and let me do as much as I can with you for no charge, he said, just to get my confidence back up, and you tell me if anything of it resonates with you. But he said, while we were stood there, Steve's at the side of me as well, he said, let me just give you a snippet, he said, because I can't help myself because there's all sorts coming through. And he just fired a load of stuff at me, and he was coming out with some sayings, and I was like, God. And he said, there's a family member coming out with this particular saying, like, slowly catch a monkey. And I stood with Steve, and I was like, I know that saying, I really know that saying, and I can't think who it is. And then there was other things he was going on about, and he was saying to me, you know, you've got to take things slow and steady and everything will happen. And he just said, I really find you fascinating and I want to do this for you. So I was like, oh, great. So I'm going back to see him. I haven't set a date yet, I've got to check the diary, but I'm definitely going to go back to see him because I found him fascinating and I really want to hear what he's got to say. But also, when I got home, I've just spoke to my dad very briefly, and I was like, Dad, who in the family used to say, slowly catch a monkey? And he goes, it was your Uncle Dave. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, it was, because my Uncle Dave died when I was pretty young. I don't think I was even double figures, and was like, I knew I'd heard that saying over and over again in my head. And he also said there was, you know, somebody whistling, like this whistling tune and they used to whistle constantly with a very dry sense of humour. And when I spoke to my dad about that as well, he was like, yeah, he's definitely your Uncle Dave. So I was like, bloody hell. Anyway, it turns out this guy also, it's Ruby in the background, he also works for, or did work for, Radio City as a used to do like a Friday afternoon or psychic afternoon readings and things like that, and used to help people, you know, who used to call in with various problems and things. So he's quite well known on these parts, although I've never heard of him. So I felt very privileged. So that is my excitement for today. So I haven't done an awful lot of SFM work. I think I've kind of had a day off today from it all. And then I've gone into the cat business side of things. And then all this has come out. So I thought I'm going to really enjoy this. Something to look forward to, something a bit different. And see what he's got to say for me. Because my mind is going at 1,000 to the dozen. Or, no, 1,000 to the dozen? That doesn't make 12 to the dozen, they say, don't they? So it'll be good to see what he comes up with. Because I haven't had a reading done for donkey's years. And the last time I went with the girls who I was in, there was a gang of us, like school friends, and we'd all gone together, and they had all come out crying, and I was like, what the hell is this all about? And I went in, and I was like the non-believer at the time, and I was like, oh God, what's this guy going to say? And I walked in, and he had me hooked in seconds, because he was like, I've been waiting for you. And he's like, I see the Dalmatians at the side of you, she never leaves your side. And I was like, oh my God. I grew up with a Dalmatian, and I absolutely was heartbroken when we lost her when I was a kid. And she went everywhere with me. And then he was like, he put his head in his hands, and he was like, what have you done? I was like, oh, what's he talking about now? He said there's a derelict building that needs loads of doing to it. There's cake boxes everywhere. Oh, it's in the right state. It's a bakery. What have you been doing? And I was like, oh God, we just purchased this building that we're going to renovate to turn into our restaurant, our business. And so he had me hooked from the start, and it was him that got me into all this, really. And now going to this guy's house today, and it was just weird with the dream, with the chakra colours, walking into his front door, and there's all the colours, and then him coming out and saying all that. I was just like, oh, this was meant to be today. So yeah, so that's it really. So I will keep you posted when I get to see him. I'm going to try and book in as soon as I can with him, and see what comes of it, and see if I can find anything else out. Exciting things. So I hope you're all having great days and all smashing your goals and your challenges. We've just had a quick walk and come back, and I know Steve's just cooking us our healthy tea. So I shall catch you all tomorrow. Bye for now.